Some bolt guns earn their bad reputation the hard way by frustrating hunters and shooters who only wanted something reliable in the field. Fun fact, there's this old Russian bolt gun that's still bruising shoulders and teaching hard lessons to first-timers. Curious? Well, in this video, we'll talk about that bolt gun and 4 others that you really should think twice about buying. If you want to know which ones are salvageable and which ones are better left collecting dust, stick around. We've got a few surprises that even seasoned bolt gun shooters won't see coming. Remington 700. Introduced in 1962, the Remington 700 earned fame by showing shooters they could buy near bench rest accuracy without selling the family tractor. The action is a simple cylindrical tube with a 2-lug bolt and recessed face. Barrels ran from 20 to 26 inches, and the catalog covered everything from Varmint 222 up through 300 Winchester Magnum. Rifles shipped in trim ADL walnut, glossy BDLs with hinged plates, heavy metal varmints, and stainless mountain rifles that felt like carrying a fly rod. Millions left Ilion, and aftermarket manufacturers rushed to feed the appetite. Stocks, triggers, bottom metal kits, detachable magazines, scope bases. If you can wish it, someone makes it for a 700. The action's concentric design beds easily, and with quality hand loads, many rifles hover around half-minute precision. Military armorers adopted it for the M24 and M40 sniper systems, and civilian gunsmiths turned out endless tactical builds. That reputation, though, hides a gremlin. The original Walker trigger includes a separate connector that can slip when grit, heavy oil, or wear get involved. Between 1946 and 2006, several documented incidents saw rifles fire when the safety was moved or the bolt was closed. Remington's replacement, X-Marks Pro, rolled out in 2007 and arrived with its own recall for excess glue inside the housing. Lawsuits, television expose, and corporate bankruptcy followed. Owners can solve the risk by dropping in a modern trigger, Timney, Trigger Tech, Rifle Basics. Installation takes 10 minutes and a punch. Replace the bottom plastic trigger guard on economy models, torque the action into a rigid stock, and you're back in business. Question is whether a new buyer wants to start with a fixer-upper. When a Bergara B14 comes from the factory with a safe, crisp trigger and slick action, 700's value proposition changes. For shooters who already own one, well, you can verify whether your serial number falls under the recall, swap the trigger if needed, and enjoy a platform that still rivals custom actions for stiffness and upgrade paths. Mosin Nagant. Remember that Russian bolt gun I mentioned earlier? Well, it's the Mosin Nagant, whose design dates back to 1891 and was intended to arm Russian infantry who spent more time in frozen trenches than on rifle ranges. Most surplus rifles you'll meet are the long 9130 pattern that stretches a whisker under 4 feet, wears socket bayonet hardware, and tips the scale at roughly 9 pounds without a sling. Every version chambers 7.62 by 54R, a rimmed cartridge that sits between 308 and 30-06 in muzzle energy, and when loaded hot will steamroll any North American game animal. Iron sights run out to a laughable 2-kilometer ladder, and the butt plate is steel over hardwood. No rubber in sight. I'll give credit where it's due. The Mosin is almost impossible to break. I've seen rifles pulled from greasy crates, wiped with kerosene, and fired all afternoon without a hitch. Decades of cheap corrosive ammo kept costs low, and the bolt's huge extractor shrugs off mud or frost. Finish rebuilds, particularly the M39, prove that a good stock bed and a crown can make the old action print tight groups. If you collect military history or enjoy tinkering, a Mosin delivers plenty of satisfaction per dollar. Now for the experience on the firing line. The bolt requires a hard upward slap to unlock, then another yank to extract. Follow-up shots under time pressure feel like working an oar. Triggers average 7 to 8 pounds with gritty creep. The safety ring at the rear must be pinched and twisted. Most shooters simply leave it alone. Add in the straight stock and thin butt plate, and you'll discover what flinch management really means. Hauling the thing into a truck cab or tiny ground blind is comedy. Many owners eventually decide they want more comfort or precision. You can help the old warhorse by installing a Timney trigger, pillars in the stock, and a slip-on recoil pad. Some enthusiasts lap the lugs and bed the action. A handful even rebarrel to modern cartridges. The path cost real money. And when you finish, you still have a top-loading, rimmed cartridge rifle that dumps empty straight down. If you're buying your first hunting tool, the Savage Axis II gives a smold boot, a 2-stage safety you can reach with gloves, and a sub-MOA guarantee right out of the case. Can't beat that. Remington 783. After the forgettable Remington 7070, Big Green tried their luck again with the 783, hoping to compete with Savage, Ruger, and Mossberg in the budget aisle. The receiver is flat-bottomed, dual lug, and paired with a barrel nut similar to Savage Practice. Caliber list is generous: 22 to 250, 243, 6.5 Creedmoor, 270, 308, 30-06, 7mm 08, 7mm rim mag, 300 Win Mag, and barrels run 22 or 24 inches. Out of the carton, the gun carries a matte scope, polymer stock, detachable plastic magazine, and a user-adjustable trigger that ships around 4 pounds. On targets, the rifle can surprise skeptics. Mine averaged in the low 1-inch range after a brief break-in, and the trigger, once dialed closer to 3 pounds, felt predictable. The stout recoil lug molded into the stock helps keep zero, and the small shank barrel cools quickly between strings. A new hunter, on a tight budget, can down venison without apology. Long-term evaluations reveal corners cut. The fore-end flexes enough to brush the barrel if you use sandbags, sling studs, or molded plastic, and the bolt's finish drags until lapped. Magazines must be snapped firmly, or you risk a click instead of a bang. Early rifles showed occasional sticky extraction, especially with soft brass hunting ammunition. The bundled optic offers an inch of eye relief, practically inviting scope bite from any cartridge above 308. Owners can rehabilitate the 783 with a Boyd's laminate or Magpul stock, metal sling hardware, and a proper hunting scope. Polishing the rails and cycling the bolt a few hundred times clears most feeding hiccups. After that effort, though, you've equaled the price of a Ruger American Gen 2 or Hoa 1500 Hogue. Both carry a sturdier stock and better glass from day one. A 783 already in your safe will put meat in the freezer. Just keep cleaning a rod handy for that first stuck casing, carry a spare magazine, and don't trust the factory scope on heavy recoiling calibers. Christensen Arms MPR. Christensen made its name wrapping barrels in carbon fiber, promising stiffness with less weight. The modern precision rifle marries that tube to a skeletonized aluminum chassis that folds against the bolt handle, saving about 8 inches in pack length. Chamber options lean long range, 6.5 PRC, 300 Win Mag, 300 PRC, and weigh roughly 10 pounds, scoped, meaning recoil feels modest once the side baffle brake does its work. A Trigger Tech Field shoe breaks under 3 pounds, and the carbon handguard offers M-LOK flats for bipods. Field carry is pleasant. The brake and thin limb saber pad keep shoulder punishment mild, and the cheek piece adjusts without tools. Unfortunately, the devil shows up on paper. My 300 PRC printed 1 3/4 inch clusters, opening to nearly 4 after 3 quick shots as the barrel heat soaked. A friend's 6.5 PRC shot lights out until a humid day shifted impact 2 inches high. Owners report slow warranty queues, and service reps who claim shooters skipped a break-in routine. The plastic AICS pattern magazines that ship with the rifle wobble loud enough to spook bedded deer, and a few rounds nosedive unless the follower is polished. Bedding compound between chassis and action reduces harmonic chatter, and aftermarket ARCA rails solve the absent dovetail for tripods. Magpul or accurate mag steel boxes cure the wobble. Should all that fail, Christensen can rebarrel, but turnaround can stretch months. Shooters wanting a factory lightweight precision rig might consider the Seekins Havoc Element, Bergara Premier Divide, or even the classic Kimber Mountain Ascent in 280 Ackley. They weigh within a pound of the MPR, cost similar money, and rarely require customer service adventures to deliver half-minute groups. Ruger number 1. You'd think all guns by Ruger are reliable, right? Nah. They debuted this single shot in 1966, blended Sharp's aesthetics with modern steel. The under-lever drops a robust falling block, providing a straight chamber and legendary strength. Because there's no bolt behind the receiver, the 24-inch barrel number 1 is shorter overall than a 22-inch bolt gun. Varieties include the 1A Light Sporter with a slender barrel and irons, the 1B Standard with medium pipe and beaver tail forend, the 1V Varminer in heavy contour, and the 1H Tropical, wearing express sights and a barrel thick enough to anchor fence post. Ruger has cataloged the rifle in more than 60 cartridges, everything from .204 Ruger to .458 Lott. Strength, reliability, and beauty draw folks in. The ejector hurls empties with authority, rimmed, belted, or standard. Integral quarter rib bases simplify scope mounting, and the trim profile rides well in a saddle scabbard. Heavy barrel versions shoot splendidly. My .300 H&H Varminer will hover at half an inch all day. Light sporters tell a different story. A single screw cinches the forend to a hanger under the barrel. As wood swells or the barrel heats, pressure changes, and groups march vertically. Some rifles demand 2 or 3 loads before they behave. Others never settle. Vertical stringing beyond the first pair of shots frustrates hunters who need a quick follow-up. Solutions are available. Glass bed the rear of the forend to the action face, shim the hanger so the wood floats evenly, or install a Hicks Accurizer that lets you tune upward pressure with a grub screw. Ensure the quarter rib's rear doesn't touch the receiver. Leave daylight so barrel expansion can't push against the action. Hand loaders seating long, heavy bullets usually find a sweet spot that standard factory loads miss. None of this costs much, but it does take patience and a willingness to file walnut. Collectors will always value a clean number 1, so any money spent is seldom lost. Hunters who want single-shot elegance without the tinkering can chase a Dakota Model M10. For everyone else, a controlled round-feed bolt gun, such as the Winchester Model 70 Safari, delivers the second round without scrambling for a pocket cartridge. And that's a wrap. We've just covered 5 of the worst bolt-action rifles on the market you can buy. Here's another fun fact. Even though bolt-action rifles are seen as the gold standard for reliability, early models often jam more than semi-autos until after World War II. Got a horror story about one of these rifles? Or maybe you know another bolt gun that deserves a spot on this list? Let's hear it down in the comments. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit like, share it with your buddies, subscribe, and tap that bell so you don't miss what's coming next.